viewers, you're welcome to another edition of Data Analytics with Python's The Beginner's Guide. My name remains Vincent Hope. Today we are into Lesson 2, which is our second recording for this course, and we are within the Kaggle environment, which we discussed before. Let me reduce this. Okay, you see that this is Kaggle environment, and this is Lesson 2. So we're going to make progress. Let me expand it back. Okay, now today we're going to talk about data types, variables, and lists in Python, because before we can really dig into data analytics with Python, we need to understand how Python works with data types. Which one does it recognize? How does it work with variables? And how does it function? And what are lists in Python? So let's make progress. I click on this now. Okay, now it says Python supports the following data types. Number one, integers, which are numbers from 1, 2, 3 continually. And these numbers can be positive or negative numbers. Python also supports floats. What are floats? Floats are numbers with decimal values. For example, 2.3210000 is a float. Any number with a decimal is a float. Then Python also supports booleans. What are booleans? Booleans have the response of either true or false. True, the first letter must be capital T. False, the first letter true must be capital F. Also, Python supports strings. What are strings? Strings are text surrounded with single or double quotation. For example, this is a text, Mac. Inside a double quotation, this is recognized as a string in Python. Or even if it is a number and is supported by double quotation or single quotation, it is still considered a string because it is closed between the quotation mark. Then finally, under data type, Python supports none, which are special data type that represents a missing value. Supposing there's a table that doesn't have a value, Python recognizes it as none. So let's work with some examples. First, let's deal with booleans. Booleans, examples of booleans, we have greater than, less than, greater than, equal to. This is equal to, and this one says not equal to. Now let's take an example. This is 8 is greater than 6, or let's say 8 is greater than 4, and we run it. Python says it is true. If we take another one, say 8 is greater than 10, and we run it, Python says it is false. So this is a Boolean operation. Now, if I say 8 is greater or equal to, let's change to another number, greater or equal to 6, for example, or no, let's use less than. If we say 8 is less than 6, that is obviously false. So let's see what Python says. You see it's false. If we say 8 is less than 10, we run it, it is true. Okay. If we say 8 is greater or equal to 8, for example, let's see what Python gives. It's true because it could be greater, but since it's greater or equal to, so it recognizes it as true. Then if we say that 8 is equal to 2, or let's just put equal to so that you see the difference. If you click run it, it gives an error because it does not recognize just 8 equal to 8. But if you say 8 is equal, put the double equal, run it, it says it is true. Then if you say 8 is not equal to 8, it will say false because it is equal to. Or if say 8 is not equal to 6, it will come out as true. So this is how to apply the Boolean formulas in Python. So let's make progress. Now let's look at the data types. We have 3 data types. We have other data types which we talked about. We have integers, we have string, we also have none. So let's assume we take a number. The type function tells you what kind of data type you are using. So if you say string type, I type 20, for example. 20 is a number, and I run it. The function type tells you it's an integer, which is a number. If I say type 17, I run it, it still gives me an integer. Now, if I say type, put it in, let me call it sugar, for example, just a string, which has to be under the inverted commas, I run it, it puts a string here because the data type is string. And I put, let's put, assuming a null value, I run it. Okay, it gives me an error. Let me put something, let me put a 0, for example. I run it. It recognizes 0 as an integer. Okay, let me put a value here and don't put anything in between. Put an inverted comma. Okay, and I run it. It still recognizes it as a string. So you can see the different data types Python recognizes. So let's make progress. Now we make progress. Okay, now we're talking about variables. So variables are letters or names used to assign numbers or values or objects in Python. Now let's take an example. In Python, you use the equal to assign variables. For example, you say x is equals to 10, meaning that every time the computer sees an x, it means that x is represented as 10. Y is equals to this string value, great learning Python. Then z is equals to 5 times 10. So now if we say print y, it will give us the value 10. If we say print x is 10, print y is great learning Python, print z, it will now be 5 times 10, which is 50. Let's alter this a bit. Let's change this to this one to 15, make this one 8, and we leave this great. Let's type it great to learn, great, or just put learning Python, and we run it. We see that this will change here. We click run. Okay, you see that x here is 8, which is print x. Y is learning Python, you see it. Then z is 5 times 15, which is what? 75. Okay, so we're making progress. So that's about variables. And now, so another way you can represent variables, you have x, y, z, which represents 2, 3, 4. So this x is for this 2, y is for 3, z is for 4. But you say now print x, y, and z gives you 2, 3, 4. If you change it, maybe you make this one 5, you decide that you make this one 7, you run it, you see now it's 2, 5, 7. So let's make progress. Now we come to lists. A list, let me click here so we can see it better. A list is a collection of data that is assigned to a variable. It is enclosed in a square bracket. Important to note, this is a square bracket here and this one here, and separated by commas. Example, list 1, 4, open bracket, square bracket, 4, 5, nuts, because it's a string text, comma, butter, then close it. Lists are mutable. Mutable simply means or changeable. They can be changed. That is, the data inside can be changed. They can also hold different types of values. They can hold integers, they can hold string, they can hold booleans, etc. Now let's make progress. Let's come down here. Now this is list 1 equal to, this is the content of list 1, 4, 5, nuts, butter. That means it has 4 components. So if I print list 1, it will give me this 4, 5, 6 butter. Now let me change this one to 50 and make this one 45, and I click execute. You see that it has changed 45, 50, nuts and butter. Now let's make progress. Now how can we add data to a list? Now use append to add to a list. Now list 1, this is the list 1 here. We have 45, 50, nuts. So we have 4 components here, but we want to add something. So we say list1.append. Append is the command. You now put what you want to add, which is sugar. You now say print list 1. Remember, I have changed the content here. It was 4, 5, nuts, butter, sugar. If I run this now, I click run. You can see it's 4, 5, nuts, butter, sugar has been added. Now, if I don't want to choose sugar, supposing I want, I'll say detergent, okay, and I run it. You see now, it has changed. It has added the sugar. It's also added the detergent too. So that is how you can add to list. Now let's make progress. If you want to remove data from a list, you use the command remove. So list 1, remove butter. Remember, butter was here. Now if we run it, remember this list here has changed. If I come back here and I run it, you can see it has 45 here, 50 here, nuts, no butter, but it has sugar. It also has what? Detergents. Okay, so that's how to remove. Use the remove code. Now let's make progress. Now you can also add lists, having 2 separate lists. Okay, so you have list 1 has 4, 5 nuts and butter. We have list 2, we have 8, 9. So we can add the 2 lists. We can say list 3 is equals to list 1 plus list 2. Then you say print list 3. The print generates the output. So if I run it, because I've changed the code, change the content, I click. Now you can see now I have 4, 5, you have nuts, you have butter, you have 8, you have 9, you have fruits. That is the total. If I change this butter now, for example, I call it sugar, I add sugar here, and I run it. Run. Okay, you can see now we have nuts, sugar, dates. So the 2 lists have been added into list 3. Okay, so let's make progress. Now you can also use the list.extend to add to lists. Now say list 1 has 4, 5 nuts and butter. List 2 has 8, 9, 10. Now you can say list 1, which is this one, dot extend list 2. That's another way to add it. So instead of saying list 3 is equals to list 1 list plus list 2, you can say list 1 dot extend list 2. That means this list 2 should be added to list 1. Then you print list 1. By the time you run it, you see that this information here is added to this, which is the output here. Okay, let's make progress. Okay, now let's look at more list functions. We have list 4, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you want to print the length. What is the length? The number in list 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the output here. Print the minimum in list 4. The minimum number. What's the minimum number here is 4. This is the minimum number. Supposing I put 2 here and I run it again, I run. Okay, it's taking a while. Come on, run. Okay, I'm pressing it multiple times. Okay, so 5, you see, for the length. Now the minimum number here is 2, which is this one. Print the minimum number. Then maximum number here is 8. Then the sum, which is the total of this, 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 7 is 18, 18 plus 8 is 26. Then to find the average, which is the lists, sum of the list, which is the total, divided by the number, you get 5.2. Okay, so let's make progress. So we now have to count the number of occurrences in a list. You have list 4, you have how many? 1, for example, you have 4, 5, 6, but you have 8 appearing 2 times. So if I want to count the number of 8 in this, the number of appearance here is 2. If I increase it, for example, increase it by 1 more time, and I run it again, I run it, okay, the output is come, okay, it's like my network connection, okay, I run it, if I run it, and run it again, okay, it's showing now 3, I was trying to check my network connection. Now, so you have 3 occurrences of 8 in this place, so I think that is clear. So if it's just for 4, if I count the number 4 here, and I run it, it's only 1 time. So I hope you get that. Now let's make progress. Now you can also sort and reverse the list. Now this is list 5. It's arranged not in the proper order, so you can sort it out to rearrange it. You can also reverse it. Now, so list.5.sort, list5.sort function will print 8. You see that it is now 1, 1, 2, 2, well arranged properly. Then print list 5 reverse. It will start from behind 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1. So that is how you sort a particular list and you reverse it. Now let's make progress. Okay. Now you want to slice, okay, index a list. Now this is list 6. What is an index? You want to get a particular entry in a list. This is list. This is in lists. It starts its main number or index from 0. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you print list 60, it will give you sugar. If you print list 62, it will give you bread. If you print list 63, it will give you 5. Now let me change this to 1 so that we can alter it. Let me change this one to 2 so that we can see the difference. Let's run it. Okay, still fine. Now, so print list is sugar. The second one, which is list 1, is 2. The third one, which is index 2, is bread. Then, if you want to use the negative, the reverse or the negative sign, it's the negative sign from behind. This one represents -4, -3, -2, -1. Then this is 0. So -1 here now is 2. Okay, then -4. Okay, sorry, -1 here is this, which is 2. Okay, I mean -1. Okay, that is wrong. Okay, like -1. So we have -4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. Okay, then we have what? Print list 6 minus 4. Do we have minus 4? Minus 4, minus 3, minus 2. Okay, so the minus 4 came. So let's change this one to minus 3 here, and let's change this one here to minus 2 and see the difference. We run this now. Fine. So this is minus 3. What is minus 3? The same bread. Okay, so we have, if this is 0, 1, if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so minus 3 represents the bread, because this is minus 4, minus 3. Then minus 2 represents, minus 3 represents the bread, which is this one, bread, minus 3 here, minus 3, then minus 2, yes, represents 5 here. So it's minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, and 1. So that's how it works. So let's make progress. Okay, now nested list. A nested list is simply list within a list. So you see that this is list 7. You have this list, entire list here. You have list 1 here. You have one list here, one list here, one list. So if you print list 7 now, you want to print a particular content now. Now this one represents 0, and you want to print a specific the number index 2 of this. This is 0, 1, 2. The output definitely will come out as 4. Now let's try something. Let's change this one to 1. That means we want to print this third one, 2 of this second cell. We will run it. You see it is now 2. If we choose 2 here, let's say we want to print 2 of 1, which we are looking for to print this third cell, but the second one, which is 1, we run it. It gives us what? 3. Okay, so now we make progress. Now we come here, so we have how to slice a list. If we want to slice a list, this is list 8 here. So we have beef, sugar, 2, and bread, 5, and milk. So if we print list 8 from 1 to 4, it will only take numbers 1 to 3, which is sugar, which is, because 0 is for beef, so it will be print sugar, 2, and bread. It does not include the 4. If you want list 8, you want from 1 to 3 and pick the second value, pick and make it 2 steps. So it will start from sugar, it will skip 2 and print bread. If you want it 3 steps, if I change it here now, I change it to 3 steps, I run it. Okay, you can see now it only picks 3 steps, it only picked for what? Sugar. And skip. It prints for sugar from 1 to 4, skip sugar and skips the rest. Skips 3 times, so it doesn't print any other one. So if you skip it at 1, if you put 1 here, which is the default value, you run it. So you see it prints the same thing, sugar, 2, bread. So I hope we have got it. Now you can play around with the values and see the output. Then you have print lists. If you just want to get the first 4 lists here, or you want to get the first 3 from 0 to 2, if you run it, so you see that you have beef, sugar, and 2. Beef, sugar, and 2. So that's how you slice lists. Then finally, we come to what? How to delete an item from a list. We have list 9. It has this content. Then you want to delete the third item, which is 0. We have 0, 1, 2, and 3. Mean you want to delete bread. By the time you say print list 9, all of them will be printed except bread. Supposing I want to delete milk. Milk is 5 here, so I remove this, I put 5 and I run it. You can see now beef, sugar, and bread has been added. So this, so far, what we have covered, how we have covered data types, variables, and lists in Python.